Hi, Dennis. Can you hear me?
Hi, Jen. How are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Good. I'm a little bit behind here, so sorry about that.
That's okay.
I just made you co-host, so hopefully you will appear. The controls for your PowerPoint
Okay.
on your screen. Do you see it?
Um,
Share screen, it should say.
don't see share screen. I see recording, video security participant.
Should say
Oh, share screen. There we go. Yeah.
Great. So you can click on that and then you can decide what to share, if it's just your PowerPoint or whatever it might be.
Can you see it?
I can.
Okay.
That's good. That works out good. Okay. So let me see here what I'm doing. Going to make my screen a little bit smaller if I can. Well, I guess I can't. All right. Oh, there we go. Okay. So, all right. So wait just another minute or two. We have a late arriving crowd usually.
Okay.
Everybody involved is working full time on this. So just kind of chat a little bit. That's okay.
Okay.
How's everything going with you, Jen? You've been traveling, is that right?
Me? No, I'm trying to stay in my bubble as much as possible still.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for some reason I thought you were traveling. I'm not sure where I got that idea, but
No, I think some of my team is, but
okay.
I'm still working from home.
Are you guys, is the company in general all working from home?
Mostly, yeah. The return date is supposed to be October 4.
Huh. I wonder if they'll go through with it.
I know, me too. And I think they'll probably rotate or something like that.
Yeah, almost everybody, in the tech sector, I know Google and Facebook and all them, they're all pushing their time back.
Yeah.
Microsoft, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
So
Red Hat.
I guess it depends on the job, what makes sense.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, I think we're starting to get a few folks. I think what I'll do is I'll introduce you, Jen, and then we can kind of get started.
Okay. One thing though, Dennis, if you want to do questions as we go, that's fine. But I don't know that I'm going to be able to see people raise their hands because
I'll pay attention to that.
Okay.
Actually, the way we do it, they can just talk, just like in a class.
Okay.
It isn't. This will be live video questions as opposed to chat or whatever. So our group is not bashful, and if they are, then I call on them and make them ask questions. So
Okay.
it works out.
That
So
works.
everybody, I'd like to meet Jen Vogelsberg, of the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina. And for those of you who may not know, a few years ago, this organization was created in partnership with the state of North Carolina, but also with private industry, or industry in general, I should say. So it's a unique organization that does a lot of the economic development work for the state, and has a lot of programs, a lot of things going on. And Jen has been so kind today to talk to us about, particularly as it relates to what many of you are doing, which is e-commerce and selling directly to consumers. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jen and try to keep track of people coming and going.
All right. Thanks, Dennis. Can you hear me okay still?
Yeah, very good.
Good. Okay. Well, I just want to thank everybody for joining today. I'm not going to do a deep dive on the long history of STEP because it's in its 10th year. So I'll just present information that I hope is going to be very useful for you all. We will touch on e-commerce as well, but this is kind of an overview of the whole program. As Dennis said, I work at EDPNC, the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina. I work in the International Trade Division as the STEP Grant Division Manager. We are in our 9th year of STEP, and I'll give you a little bit of background about what STEP is. So are you seeing my next slide here then? Okay. So STEP is the State Trade Expansion Program. So it's completely focused on exports and helping exporters. That can be somebody who's already exporting, but you want to increase the number of markets that you're reaching, or it can be somebody who's not exporting yet, but wants to start. Because as I'm sure all of you know, 95% of the world's customers are outside of the US. So we want to get as many of you bringing in foreign dollars as we can.
95%. Wow, I didn't realize it was that much.
Yep, only 5% is America. So if you're only selling domestically, you're missing out.
Wow.
Plus companies who export stay in business longer because as the market goes up and down, you've got that to fall back on if you're not just selling to the US. So if you're not exporting, it's the way to go.
Cool.
Oh, somebody wants to be admitted.
I got it covered. Don't worry.
Okay. Okay, so STEP is through the SBA. They're the ones who issue the grant. Every state and US territory can apply. And we've gotten the grant for 9 years in a row now. It is a reimbursement program, which means if you want to get STEP dollars, you can apply, but whatever that activity is, you pay for it up front, and then we reimburse you after the fact.
How long does that take normally to get reimbursed?
Typically 2 to 4 weeks.
Oh, wow, that's nothing.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Sometimes we can turn right around, but sometimes there's a bit of a queue.
Okay.
So STEP aids companies in learning how to export, because we do put on export education events all the time that are free, usually like one a month at least. And they used to be in person, but now we do webinars, of course. We'll probably get back to in person soon. But you can go to edpnc.com, look at our events page, and sign up for all kinds of things. So we teach people how to export. We help you participate in trade missions and trade shows, obtain services to support foreign market entry. So if you wanted to get, I don't know if any of you are familiar with a gold key service through the US Commercial Service Office. That's basically where they will, you tell them that you want to find distributors in Germany. And so they'll work with you to figure out who is the best fit, and they will narrow it down to some companies that should be a vetted, very good fit for you. And it just saves you all that time and effort of tracking them down and deciding whether they're a legit partner to pursue or not.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So we'll reimburse the cost of that fee. We'll help you develop a website to attract foreign buyers. We'll get into that a little bit more later. And we actually just started offering some marketing dollars this year as well. So right now we're in step year 9, which is 24 months. It runs until next September, but honestly, all of those funds are already promised. I'm only taking waitlist applications for step year 9, but we're about to start step year 9 continuation. That's going to start at the end of this month, and it'll run through next September. So anything that you want to do in between those months, it would have to take place in between those months to qualify, whether that's a trade show or a website project or what have you.
So is this program basically $24,000 a year?
Per program period, yep. We don't run on our traditional calendar, we run on the SBA's calendar. But the application for step year 9 continuation is going to be available in a couple weeks. So companies will be able to apply right away for anything that might start on the 30th or beyond.
Cool.
Oops, there we go. So to qualify for STEP, it's actually really easy. Basically, you just have to be registered to do business in North Carolina, first and foremost. You have to have been around for at least a year. So no brand new startups. You have to have been around for at least a year. And the size standard is typically 500 employees or less. That number can go up depending on your NAICS code. I know that there are some textile and lumber companies that they can be more like 1,000 employees and still qualify. But typically it's about 500. You have to have access to bear the costs because, as I said, it is a reimbursement program. So you have to be able to do this whole shebang on your own and then wait for reimbursement. So the process is, the first thing we do is we pair you with a member of my team, the International Trade Division. That would be depending on your industry. So we've got 5 trade managers. Liz Isley covers lumber and furniture. Michael Cole covers life sciences and some other things. There's 5 managers. Everybody's got different areas. So the first thing we do is pair you with the one who would take care of you. They can give you some general export business counseling. They can put you in touch with our foreign offices. We have foreign offices. We just increased our presence, actually. We've got Canada, Mexico, the Middle East, most of Asia, all of Europe. I'm probably forgetting somebody.
India?
Yeah, what's that?
India, maybe?
No, we're not in India, actually. But we can cover a lot more of Central and South America than we used to be able to as well. We just renewed our contracts. So we can put you in touch with those foreign offices and they can do work for you, and that's free. If you have, if you get a call from somebody and you're not sure if you feel comfortable selling to them, are they legit? If they're in Mexico, we'll put you in touch with our Mexico office and they'll vet them for you and let you know if that's a legit business concern that you should be dealing with or not. They can do distributor searches. They can set up meetings for you at trade shows you're going to go to in their respective countries. They can do all sorts of things for you without you having to physically meet them, and it's all free. So I'll put you in touch with a trade manager who can put you in touch with those foreign offices. And ultimately, the trade manager is who's going to decide if you qualify for STEP as well. That's the job of the trade manager and my boss, the program director. So let's say you get with your trade manager and you tell them you want to go to a trade show and you want to use STEP booth funds for that trade show. The process would be you apply to STEP. You say, I want to go to XYZ trade show at this time. I'm going to have a booth. The trade show is going to cost me $10,000. The most that we'll allow for a booth is $5,000. So what we'll do is we'll let you know if it's approved or not. And then we tell you, go ahead, go do that activity, go pay for it. When you get back, submit your receipts for reimbursement. And I would give you a lot more details than that, but just to keep it short for now. So once you go do your activity, you come back for reimbursement. You do have to fill out an evaluation, and that's where you tell us how good was that experience for you. If it was a trade show, did you meet some foreign partners that you want to work with? If it was a translation project, how are you going to use it? Is it going to help you sell your product in that country? Whatever feedback you have to offer. We also ask for you to report export sales dollars as well, because we have to show the SBA that this grant money that we're giving out, we're being responsible with, and that there is an actual ROI on whatever activities you, the companies, are doing. But by the way, all of that is kept completely confidential. We do report it to the SBA, but that's an aggregate. So we would say 14 companies went to trade shows on their own, and they reported this many export dollars. You don't have to worry about anybody hunting you down and saying, show us the proof. Payments are issued once we get all of your reimbursement materials. That's usually within 30 days. And then we realize that most of these activities, like, you're not going to have immediate, results. You're not going to get a translation project and then tomorrow $50,000 in export sales results, or a trade show. Sometimes that takes over a year for those contracts to get written up. So we do send you a survey 9 to 12 months after that activity has taken place, just to see what feedback you can provide.
Hey, Jen. So in these examples, a couple of questions come to mind. One is, do you guys provide access to legal help so that our companies can get some help on, like you just mentioned, a contract or other protocols or paperwork that they may not have much knowledge of?
Right. It's not something that STEP could pay for, but we can give you references for that sort of thing. And a lot of times companies will have questions that are specific legal questions for a different country. And a lot of times our foreign officers can answer those for them.
Cool. The other question I have while you're going, the discussion so far has been really about, traveling to a trade show or going to a foreign country. How does online activities fit into this plan?
Right. We readjusted this year because of the pandemic. So it used to be in-person shows were it, but this year we do approve virtual shows as well.
Cool.
Yep. A lot of those this past year, as you can imagine.
Yeah. Do you see that continuing as that slowed up?
I think that once in-person becomes possible again universally, I think in general, the virtual version of trade shows has not been what people want, of course. But some have been really successful. And especially a lot of them are like not just a 2 or 3 day thing. It'll be like a 3 month or even a full year thing where you can kind of enter and check back. So I will continue to allow virtual with STEP as long as the SBA says that we can.
Cool.
Yeah. So our offerings that add up to 24,000 per program period right now are 5,000 towards a booth or registration fees for a trade show or trade mission that can be in person or virtual. And by the way, you can dip into that multiple times. So if you're going to go to a virtual show that's only 1,500, you can come back and claim that other 3,500 for something else, as long as we still have enough money in the program to approve that for you. Same goes for all of these categories, by the way. Travel to a trade show up to $3,000. That covers flights and lodging only, and that's for 1 or 2 employees combined. E-commerce and websites up to $10,000. That does, the big caveat with that is it has to be something that's going to help you reach foreign buyers. We can't help you with your domestic sites so that you can just sell more in America. We can help you with your domestic site if it's to add foreign languages.
Right.
Or if it's to localize it to a different country. So, you know, xyz.ca for Canada. Right. That's what we're really looking to help you do.
Okay.
Okay. Export services and marketing media up to 6,000. That covers a lot. That covers translation services if you want to get a product manual translated, or if you need to get your product labels translated to meet the requirements of the country that you're selling into. That can be basically anything the U.S. Commercial Service Office does, like the gold keys I mentioned before, or they do international company profiles. Basically, commercial services can do everything that we can do, but they've got offices everywhere and they charge for what they do. We've got a limited number of offices and we don't charge for what we do, but we're not everywhere, and we know that you want to get things done in places where we're not. So basically, anywhere that we can't help you for free, we'll cover those fees up to 6,000.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Consider like U.S. territories, foreign countries, or are they considered U.S.?
What do you mean? For
like things like Guam, for example, selling in Guam. It's not a state, you know. It's, I don't know what it is. I guess it's some kind of U.S. thing. But is that considered foreign, or is that considered U.S.?
I haven't really had it come up in a situation where, I mean, if somebody wanted to go to a trade show there, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, if somebody needed help with a partner search there or something, I don't think that we cover the territories, but I know that U.S. Commercial Services would.
Okay.
Okay. And then export education webinars, as I mentioned earlier, you can just go on our website, and we're about to plan a bunch of them. You won't see any listed right now, but we're working with the instructor right now to get all of those set up, and we'll have a full list of 10 or 15 for the year on there soon, so you'll know which category or which topics you want to sign up for and what dates those will be.
Fantastic. This is you're probably going to cover it. I'm sorry, I'm asking so many questions. Can you comment just generally about trying to do business in China? Is that a pain in the ass, or is that work okay?
Honestly, I'm a grants person. I'm not a business person, so my team could answer that much better for you.
Okay.
But the gist that I'm getting is it's a real pain in the butt right now.
Yeah.
And then a lot of companies, frankly, are looking to not even go there anymore. They're looking for replacements for their supply chain, for their exports. Yeah.
Such a big market, you know, it's amazing.
I know. It's huge. So that's really going to be a big shakeup over the next year or so.
Yeah.
So now I'm just going to dive into each one of those categories a little bit with a little bit more detail. The booth and registration for up to 5,000. I think I mentioned that can be in person or virtual. Let's see. If it's a trade mission, it has to be something that's organized by us or by one of our partner agencies. There's a lot of trade missions out there that are a little bit, we don't know who's organizing it, and it doesn't look all that well put together. So we do
those cartels don't do a very good job with trade.
Exactly. And a rule that we're reinstituting this year is that companies cannot use travel, booth, and marketing on the same event. You can dip into each one of those pots, but travel would have to be for one show, booth would have to be for another show. Marketing would have to be just in general or for a third show.
Okay.
Okay. Travel, like I said, that's all we cover for travel is lodging and flights. Flights must be adherent to Fly America, so they have to be economy class with the U.S. carrier. But otherwise, that we don't do the ground. You don't have to save all your food receipts and taxi receipts and all that. We don't cover that part. And the in-person shows, those can be for international trade shows. Basically, any show you apply for outside the U.S., as long as it's not like a startup first-year show, it's got a good chance of being approved. If it's a domestic show, basically has to have international in the title or have major statistics on the show's website to make us know that there's a great expectation for foreign ROI at the show. So e-commerce and websites, again, this is just to say that everything needs to be focused on outside the US. If you want to do search engine optimization to help you show up in a search in Mexico faster than you do right now, we can cover that sort of thing. We just can't cover something that only improves your chances of selling in America. Oh, and I should mention, if you want to get your website, a lot of people have a website that doesn't have a shopping cart, which is fine, but if you have a business where a shopping cart would work, we can help you get that set up for international payments.
Cool.
Okay. Export services. So this covers translation of marketing media. That could be a video, that could be a PowerPoint, brochures, whatever you post on you attach to your website, or you forward to clients in emails, or you hand out in person to clients at trade shows. Anything that helps you market yourself, we can cover. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Go Center, but they're actually working on marketing videos for several companies this past year, where they do like a 2-minute video, costs $6,000. They designed the whole offering around what we could cover. And so I think the one that I saw, well, I've seen a few, but I saw one that was absolutely amazing. It was 2 minutes. It showed testimonial with the owner talking about how long they've been there, why they're proud of their product, where they sell well and why. It showed the making of the product, and it was just like everything about it made you trust this company, made you see that they really respect and take pride in what they do and how they do it. And I think having something like that that you can share with a client, or that you can put on a TV on a loop at a trade show, is like invaluable. They'll use it for years to come, you know.
Yeah, who is this group? What is this group called?
The Go Center.
The Go Center, G-O?
Yeah, Global Opportunities Center. The SBTDC works with them.
Cool.
And they produce it in English. So you can, if you want to post it to your American website, you can, but then you can get it subtitled or translated into another language to go to this show in India or that show in Mexico,
Wow,
you know?
cool.
So very, very useful. I think the companies are going to be really pleased with those. Social media is something that we started, social media ads is something that we started covering this past year. So if you want to do, you know, a campaign with, there's so many different platforms out there, but I mean, it could be just social media, or it could be tied to an industry, you know, an association, if you want to do something like that. Let's see, U.S. commercial services. The SBTDC holds an export boot camp every year. It's like 4 or 5 sessions, and it's really useful, and it's pretty cheap, but we cover that cost. I think they only charge like $300. And then a brand new offering, which we just got permission. We haven't even done this yet, but we just found out from the SBA that we can cover Ex-Im Bank credit insurance fees.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Is that related to ensuring that the person you're doing business with pays their bill when you say?
Exactly. Yeah, to cut the risk. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So I'm excited about that one, because I know a lot of our companies do use Ex-Im. I'm not sure how big those fees run or anything. So this is a new thing for me as well. We'll see how that goes.
Very cool. Right.
So now I've just got a bunch of FAQs I could run through, and if you want to just pipe in and let me know if it brings something else up for you, just speak up. So does any trade show qualify for STEP? Basically, anything held outside of the US, 99% chance that we're going to cover that show. And then for domestic, it just really has to have a strong international focus. There's been too many times we sent somebody to a domestic show and everything they report back afterward is related to domestic sales, which is great for them, but not so great for us sustaining the program. Do conferences qualify for STEP? As long as there is an exhibition component that we can document, then yeah, we can cover a conference as well. But trips to potential partners, do they qualify? Unfortunately, no. But we have had a lot of companies say that they want to go meet with a partner, and then they find a trade show that they can get involved in that area so that they can have the partner meeting, but then get STEP reimbursement for their travel to exhibit.
I wouldn't be surprised if the potential partner didn't all of a sudden schedule a trade show, right?
Right. Or, you know, a lot of times somebody that they wanted to meet was going to be at that show anyway, so it works out good.
Yeah.
So website projects, like I said, search engine optimization, localization to another country is something we really push big here. We work closely with a company called IBT Online. And what IBT does is they offer this package where you can get 2 websites for 2 different markets for $12,000. So if you have an existing American website, they can give you a Mexico website, so a xyz.mx for Mexico, and then .ca for Canada, all for $12,000. So that, because I don't know if everybody's very familiar, this is something I've learned a lot about in the past year and a half, and I'm still learning, but it's really hard for a company to find your American website.
Yes.
You know, it's a deep dive for them to find you. Because what happens in their Google search is all the Mexican companies are showing up in Mexico.
Right.
So you really have to have a website that is localized over there so that you even are on their radar.
Makes sense.
And IBT is a great way to do that. As long as you know, the 10,000 or the 12,000 for 2 websites, it's not super in-depth websites. If you have a website that has 1,000 SKUs, that's going to cost a lot more than what IBT can do. But you might say, you know what, we have 10,000 SKUs, but only these 40 SKUs sell in Mexico. So let's make a Mexico website for these 40 SKUs. You know, there's ways to work around your budget to get something in the market of your choice.
Right. And I think it's important to look at this as it's not all or nothing. There's nothing wrong with starting smaller and
Right.
based on demand. You don't have to go full blast before you even know what you're going to do.
Exactly. If you have one of your 20 products is the easiest one for you to package for export, sell that one to Mexico or Canada. You know, do what works for you and then build up.
Okay.
So can I use STEP for more than one trade show? Yes. Like I said before, you can dip in multiple times until the whole funding pot is gone. But you do have to apply for each one of those individually ahead of time. And then we tell you if we can cover it, because maybe you only spent 1,000 of the 5, but maybe we've spent all of the program funds.
Yeah.
And can I use any vendor I like for my website or translation project? Our rule is that you have to use somebody US based, so that if you are we're reimbursing you for you having paid them, we want the dollars to trickle to an American company where possible. So, and we can give you a list of providers upon request if you don't want to do the searching yourself.
Do you include a mobile app development as well?
In the past, we have not, but I did just find out from the SBA that we're allowed to. So we'll see if anybody applies for that. Good question.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing is, at least in the e-commerce space, that mobile is driving an increasing percentage of traffic to e-commerce. Where, you know, last year Amazon did 62% of their business on mobile.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would really encourage anybody who's viewing right now to watch one of IBT Online's presentations. They do one every couple of weeks, it seems like, and they will tell you like a lot of what you just mentioned, Dennis. They will show you just some of the background information, just so you know how valuable and important it is to be selling on these different platforms.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's eye-opening.
One other thing that I'll just throw at you that you're probably not aware of, but one of the things that we're doing a lot with in our class is we're doing a lot of live streaming e-commerce, and these are basically almost the equivalent of a show, and people can actually purchase the product without leaving the live stream. So that's something that we're seeing a lot of activity. In fact, we're going to do a pretty big program November 11th in North Carolina. We're being supported by the Department of Agriculture and North Carolina Rural Center, a whole bunch of people to do a Shop a Rural Day, where rural companies can sell their products live on a live stream that we're going to be hosting.
Okay, and so that's like a fixed amount of time where people can.
Well, the idea right now, I'm thinking about a 12-hour time frame, and I think we can accommodate up to 250 companies during that time frame. So each company has their own space, so it isn't sequential. It can be all at the same time or whatever. But each company will have their own little space to do their live show, and we encourage things like contest, trivia games, spin a wheel for a discount, all kinds of stuff like that, kind of turning it into a little bit of entertainment as well, because we found that can really drive transactions. So just something we're real excited about and seeing a lot of traction with our companies.
Yeah, that's very exciting. If I could, I'll email you to get the details on that.
Yeah, shopruralday.org.
Okay.
I'm working on the website today.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Let's see. If I don't use funding from one category, can that be added into another category? And unfortunately, the answer to that is no. These funding caps are set by the SBA, so we have to follow their rules. And is the feedback I share with you confidential, including my export sales? Yes. We do have to report what companies participate, and we do have to report what overall dollars are reported, but no company is linked to any specific export information that we report to the SBA.
Cool.
Can I use travel and booth on the same show? No, they have to be used on separate events. Can you apply for every funding category? Yes, we've had a few companies that are taking advantage of the full 24,000. It takes some planning, and we can't do that planning for you. But if you have a strategy and you can plan all of these things out ahead of time, then it's absolutely possible to use all 24,000.
Oh.
And can I apply for something that has already happened? No, that's an SBA rule. You have to apply beforehand. One thing I would like to mention that I didn't yet, part of what STEP does is we pay for my own team to get trade show booths. So, for example, Cool Deep covers defense and security for us, and he'll be going to Millipole next month. And he'll be using STEP dollars for that show. So what he does, he gets a booth, and then he invites North Carolina companies to participate in his booth.
Cool.
And you can use STEP for your travel. So you've gotten travel money and free booth space for a show that maybe you didn't know would be a good fit for you, or maybe you've just never been able to afford it. But you can combine things like that. You can really get a lot of value out of it.
Do you guys have like an email list or a newsletter that comes out?
Yes. Yeah. In my email signature, you can sign up for our newsletter there. You can go on edpnc.com and look under the exports and sign up for newsletter there. Cool. And you can go to our events page and see all the shows that we have coming up planned. And if one fits you or your interest, then you can contact the trade manager listed and ask them, are we still going to that show? Do you have room in your booth for a company like me?
Yeah, cool.
So that is all I've got, Dennis, unless anybody has some more questions that they want to throw out there.
Yeah, let's see. Anybody getting ready to sell in Mexico or Canada or even God knows where? Anybody have any questions? John Arnold, I know you want to sell that stuff elsewhere, right?
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on, I don't know what countries you've thought about, but how does this strike you?
Well, this might be kind of a dumb question for you, Jim, but we over the past several years have had, I'm going to say 5 or 6 different people approach us in Canada about buying our products being a distributor for us, buying products. The problem we've run into doing it on our own is the shipping cost and the dollar exchange has been kind of cost prohibitive for them. Is
Okay.
there any way to bridge that through these programs or?
That's not something that STEP could fund, unfortunately. That's just not one of the offerings the SBA lets us allow. But we could put you in touch with our Canadian officer up there and see if she had any recommendations for something you could do to kind of a workaround, perhaps.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, and she's her advice is free. That's Nancy Ward in Canada. So yeah, if you want, just you can send me an email and then I'll put you in touch with the right member of my team who can liaise you to our Canada office.
Okay, great. Yeah, that'd be fantastic. I appreciate that.
Ron, you gotta love that price, buddy.
Do what?
You gotta love that price.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Anyone else want to comment on some of the things we've learned here today? Well, one of the things that Jen that really strikes me is so you mentioned an extension for the plan year 9, which I guess goes for 1 year starting October 1st, I suppose.
The year 9 continuation, I think you're oh yeah, that's what you're talking about. Yeah, it's about to start at the end of this month and it'll end next September.
So then at that point, year 10 will start ostensibly, assuming you get approved.
Exactly. Unless it gets cut from up on the hill somewhere, then yeah.
So, but let's just assume that it continues.
Mhm.
So then you'd be in a situation where you could get 24,000 for this extension year and could conceivably get 24,000 the following year. Is that the way to look at it?
Correct, unless the SBA makes changes to the caps or, you know, the rules, then yeah.
Yeah, okay, so really, you know, depending on your horizons and what you're trying to do, you're looking at potential almost $50,000 worth of support in a relatively short period of time to help you figure out your foreign strategy. Am I looking at, is that the way to think of it?
Exactly, yeah. The only caveat I would say to that is keep in mind that any activity has to be trackable to just one grant period. So we couldn't give you 10,000 for a Mexico website with year 9 continuation and then give you more money for that same Mexico website, you know, in the next year.
Yeah, but you
Other
you
than
help us-
that,
you help us
separate
with all that,
activity.
right? You help us
Okay.
navigate all that stuff, right?
I'm sorry?
So your team helps everyone navigate those kinds of things so that
Oh,
they
yeah. Yeah,
you have help. You don't have to be that smart, luckily.
right. We wouldn't approve you for that, but just, you know, if you're thinking, oh, well, maybe if I had 2 years worth, I could get that website done. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way.
Okay. Any other questions from folks on the class today? Well, what Jen, I think we're good. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to post your information in our little system, our little Facebook group, and which is private, and you know, make sure that everybody has your contact information. And you know, if you feel comfortable sharing this PowerPoint, I can post that as well. And I think it's just incredible what you guys do, you know, particularly for small businesses. I think to reach this 95% of the market that's outside the US, I really appreciate what you guys are doing, and I'm just blown away by all.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me, Dennis. This program really is a great way, especially for new exporters, to dip your toes. You might not know what market's right for you, or you might not know what show is right for you. This is a great way to mitigate the risk and to have guidance the whole time too. So yeah, I look forward to hearing from everybody, and just let me know what follow-up information you need.
Great. Thank you, Jen. Really appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye. All right, everybody. That's it for today. On Wednesday, we have a real treat. We're going to have a person who is a small business owner who has been so successful with her small business that she now has become a Shopify consultant as well. And I think you'll find it really interesting. She's a graduate of UNCW. She operates in Montana now. But I think you'll find it really interesting, her story of how she built her small business and how she has then leveraged that into consulting, helping people figure out how to use Shopify and other tools to grow their business. So that'll be Wednesday. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Thanks. Goodbye.